Calling to order City of Redondo Beach Public Safety Commission meeting. I can't see Monday, July 21st, 2025. Roll call.
Commissioner Carmichael?
Present.
Commissioner Blair is absent. Commissioner Gall? Here. Commissioner Kleinbaum?
Present.
Commissioner Escontrias? Present. Commissioner Skiba is absent. And Commissioner Woodnicki?
Present.
Oh, let's salute the flag.
Oh,
Yes.
I asked that we just take a moment of silence afterwards for the the sheriff deputies that were lost in the LAPD.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good call.
Agreed. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, agenda item D. Does everyone approve the order of agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
The order of agenda approved, moved, and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Blue folder items, I understand we got one. I'm going to click to open it.
There's a public comment in the blue folder.
Got it.
Wow. That's a first.
Okay, and we shall, actually, I'll read this one. As of, blue folder item, public comment, as of today, the residents of the 500 to 600 block of North Prospect have not received a final plan from the Redondo Beach Public Works for the intersection at BCHD. We have made it known to Redondo Beach Public Works that we may seek an appeal. As such, that would proceed the City Council no later than 30 days after our Redondo Beach Public Works action. We continue to seek the plan at the earliest possible time. Mark Nelson.
May I make a comment?
Certainly.
Just for the
The
record.
chair recognizes Commissioner Gall.
Thank you, Chair Carmichael. Just for the record, when I started this commission back in 2017, Officer Deere did have meetings on traffic calming and gave us, I think, references to different types of fixtures and things to use for traffic calming. I do recall that pretty clearly. So I know there's been a tightening of the scope, and I would say it's evolved over time, but never formally. And I think this commission has been very flexible and very cooperative on any topic it's been given. I've also noticed some of the council people have specific types of interests that they have in improving traffic safety and also stroke rehabilitation for emergency patients. We've discussed those things here. Just cull the records and see what's useful for you in terms of what's been discussed and people we have discussed it with. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Agenda item F, consent calendar, the affidavit of posting, and the approval of minutes from June 16th. Is that roll call or is that, can I do that one? All those approved of the consent calendar and including the affidavit of posting and the approval of minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Fantastic. Item G, are there any excluded consent calendar items that we should be aware of?
No.
Thank you. Agenda item H, public participation in non-agenda items. This is where any member of the public online, on the phone, or in our audience can come to the mic for 3 minutes to discuss any non-agenda item. Any person online? None in the audience? All right. Item I. Well, yeah, because H1 would be e-comments and emails, right? Right,
Correct. There's an email attached and no e-comments.
great. Item, something pops up on my screen, sorry. Item I1, discussion regarding requesting city manager staff to present information on items in current fiscal year budget that pertain to public safety. No member of city staff or city manager has come by tonight, so any comments or anyone from the public?
No.
Commissioner Escontrias?
Yeah, I think as a matter of clarification that fairly recently that there have been comments by the council that somehow we have not added anything to any discussion concerning the fiscal budget. I have to beg to differ for that, to clarify is that in fact when city manager came here, that we gave him several issues to look at, questions and such. So I would have to basically say that in clearing the record in that we did. Now, whether or not he returned with them, okay, one is it would be something that was a bit concerning when it comes down to transparency, as well as a fiduciary responsibility to convey that information, and that, or that he in fact did, and it fell on deaf ears to whatever entity that he did, or I would be curious to see whether or not there is some type of paper trail on that. I would also say at the same time that is incumbent on staff that if when those comments were made, that staff has also a fiduciary responsibility to go back and make those corrections as well. So it basically falls on, I think, on several ways. An understanding is that we talk about transparency, we talk about communication with the community, and so therefore, I think what it basically does is in a way, to a certain degree, appears as though somehow we are negligent in our duties as here on the commission. And I would venture to say is that that is far from the truth. Unfortunately for some, my job in my life has been dealing in integrity and being held to a higher standard when it comes to that. And I believe people in government should be held to a higher standard and be held responsible for what they say and most importantly, what they do. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank you.
May I make a quick comment?
Hang tight. I'm having a senior moment.
That's okay. I'm having a shoulder moment. Don't have the shoulder moment.
To save my life right now.
Over the.
Go down the row.
Would you like to go? Sorry.
Can we acknowledge, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
H1, there's a comment, a letter. Can we acknowledge that in email?
We did.
Oh, we did. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't really have anything else.
Okay, no worries. Commissioner Gall.
Thank you, and I apologize, Commissioner Kleinbaum. Yeah, next time, pull me over and take me to the right path on that one. With regard to data requests, if there's ever a referral to staff for the number of times over the last 8 years we've asked for data, I think we could put a number behind it and leave it for the record for the number of times we've asked for data on certain things and not seen that forthcoming would be a nice way to put it. Thank you.
Commissioner Wadling, okay. I will. Hang tight. This is taking a lot out of me. I will echo the comments of Commissioner Escontrias because we spent that night where we provided our feedback was a very long night for us because not only did we have city manager here, but we had South Bay COG walking us through, right? And we also had CityNet walking us through, both of them, the data behind our being able to sort of thump our chest and say that we're at functional zero. So I agree, and I do think that one of the things that we probably can do is pull the video or pull the transcripts from that evening and make that a part of something that we submit to City Council, because since their feedback was we provided no feedback, when in fact we have a night transcribed and in video where we provided quite a lot of feedback with respect to the budget. So I do echo your sentiment there, Commissioner Escontrias. Any public comment or anyone online for I-1? Okay. I-2, discussion and possible action regarding advisory memo to City Council regarding truck route matter with the City of Torrance. Are we, my question, just since it's an agenda item, do we still want to send one since we didn't get a closeout to say, hey, can we have a closeout?
Yeah. I'd be willing to make a motion on that if you want me to do something.
I do.
Okay.
I'll start. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, your question, sir, was whether that was closed
Do
down?
we still want to send them out because we didn't get sort of a closeout? This is what we did. This is what we didn't do. This is, are we still, writing tickets? Are we still doing, we never got a sort of a closeout memo for what was going on with the truck matter. Commissioner Escontrias.
I would indicate on this subject that we do not close it out. Let it fly, let it go. The issue that comes up, and I do understand that them trying to transfer this over to Public Works. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between Public Works, which basically the mechanical side, yep, to the problems and issues when it comes to that particular corner. However, there is the other side, and the real side of it, which is enforcement. Enforcement cannot be handled by Public Works.
Yeah,
correct.
Right? And the question that we've also brought up, and as well as what the community has asked, is that traffic enforcement is one layer to the issue that comes up. We can debate all day and all night whether or not is the end-all be-all, right, or the total number of stop signs we have in the city, which I think is totally irrelevant. Okay, it is a matter of whether or not the people believe that they're being serviced. And most importantly, that when they have an issue, that someone is going to come. The idea of we're too busy in police work does not fly, cannot fly. So I would venture to say, let us go ahead and just indicate that we have made many attempts to speak to the community, which we have. I believe that we've made every attempt to address it, that in some ways that information that we had attempted to get from the department was blocked in straight up no uncertain terms. Although we did get the information through the open records request, actually through a third party. But they indicate, I'm not saying that we go in scorched earth on this, but I think that just basically to indicate that we have made every attempt to do this, and until somebody else decides of how they want to continue with this, that is going to continue to be a problem long after any of us are still either alive or gone. Okay, whether on that intersection or anywhere else for that matter. And I think what it basically indicates is, by not closing out, is that the will of the people is still important. Okay, and if this is an enforcement issue, rather, not a total enforcement issue, but there are some contingents to that that still are going to be addressed regardless of where this commission is or whoever's on the council as well. So I would say not close it out, refer it to staff, okay, and have them write in a notice to that, and if nothing else as an advice to that. But a very strong indication is that these people still need to be addressed, they still need to be listened to, and this problem is not going to go away.
You'll be happy to know we're on the same page.
Sorry?
You'll be happy to know we're on the same page.
Again,
I said
the truth will set you free, as we said.
I more said since we didn't get a closeout memo, right, okay. Right. So we should still send one to say, here's our recommended, yes. We're on the, yes. Commissioner Kleinbaum. I'm so spacing on your name. I don't know why. I'm so sorry. I-2.
This is I-2.
Yep. Yep. And this is more around, do we still want Commissioner Gall to write an advisory memo?
To write an advisory memo? Mm-hmm. I'm in favor of it, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Gall. Oh, have you spoken? Oh.
Already did.
Okay. Commissioner Wadnicki.
I agree with Commissioner Escontrias on every point, and I also agree with Commissioner Gall writing an advisory memo.
All right, do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, anyone online?
Nope.
All right. Motion?
Now I got to think of the motion.
You can go with this.
So may I make a motion that, that I write an advisory memo to city council, mayor, and staff regarding how the truck traffic effect on public safety is being handled, and call on them for action to review and consider options to improve pedestrian and bicycle and vehicle safety, something like that.
Second.
Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Moved and seconded?
Aye.
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 You want to send it to me just before the next
Yes, sir.
meeting, and then they can present it and vote on it?
Great. Gosh, this commission agrees on a lot of things suddenly. Okay,
Yeah.
please continue.
No. I think we all foundationally agreed on the same thing. Just a style, you know.
Preferably before that Thursday prior.
Yeah.
I'll work on it tomorrow and get it over to you.
Thanks.
Prior to which meeting?
So
Prior to the meeting? Which
to
meeting?
our next one.
Your next
Commission
meeting.
meeting.
Our next one.
Our next meeting or the council next meeting?
Oh, good
So
question.
Oh, that's a
if
good
he
question.
authors a memo, you guys will have to all see it and approve it, and then we can.
I
send it
think,
off.
I think he authored the memo just now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the memo.
So can we use the recorded message on YouTube and I just write it verbatim? Even though,
Why does he have to write it?
well, no, just, well.
Because
yeah,
that's how it
you're
has
right.
to go to them. Sorry, that's how it has to go to them.
No, I'm just saying is that if you take notes of what we are asking
It could
for.
be done either way.
Well, my concern is that we're kicking this even more so to the point of,
Yeah, we're not doing that.
All
So
right, I don't
at this point, we will
closing up the
lean on
closeout
our
one meeting.
liaison to provide us guidance.
I can
As to how
send the
you-
memo with that exact verbiage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Day
Appreciate
after
it.
this,
Hold on. That I think we still have to vote
time
on it.
permitting after this meeting, if you guys all vote on the affirmative of that message.
Okay.
I thought if he was going to author something longer, then he'd want to bring it to the commission so that he's not,
Makes
so that
sense.
everyone approves the message he's
Makes
delivering
sense.
to council.
Yep, no, that's fine.
I think we should move forward with it now.
I agree.
yeah.
All right, somebody make a motion.
All right, sounds like 1,000 points of light to me.
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion to move forward with it now as is for you.
Yep, sounds good.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'm glad this is recorded, I tell you. Item I3, discussion and possible advisory action regarding Redondo Beach Municipal Code 5-1.200
Sorry.
concerning licensing of dogs. Let me read this again.
I apologize.
Discussion, me too, I'm sorry. Discussion and possible advisory action regarding Redondo Beach Municipal Code 5-1.200 concerning licensing of dogs. Commissioner Escontrias, the chair recognizes Commissioner Escontrias to start off our discussion.
Woof.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, I understand how the discussion kind of evolved into cats. I will address that very quickly. I do know. However, at this point, I don't believe this is a forum for me to reveal that at this point, but I want to make sure we clarify that there's no way, shape, or form that, other than the one question that came up. One question, okay? And a very reasonable question as well. That the chipping of cats was never, ever involved in this whatsoever. And in fact, the document that I provided to Commissioner Chair concerning that ordinance of the 5,387 words in it, okay, the word cat only shows up on 7 occasions and is during the discussion. Okay, so let's get that, so there's no doubt in anybody's civil service mind as to what we were requesting or what I proposed for that. Again, one of the issues that I look at this is the cost to the city. I believe that if you kind of do a cost analysis between animal control, when they encounter an animal, would probably be about, say, for example, if an ordinance is enacted, that probably no more than $150 based on a rate of $38.74 per hour for an animal control officer, which is probably on the high end. if they were able to return that animal within the 2-hour time frame, even 3 hours for that matter. Okay. If not, if that dog has to go because they're unable to unite someone with their dog, again, the municipal code within the 51200 series requires that animal control post a photo of the dog on a bulletin board, which is in municipal code, which they don't do. Okay. But if the dog has to go, okay, probably after 3 hours, and he's speaking to animal control officers, generally it's 3 to 4 hours before they're taken, and the dog has to go to Inglewood, which means they have to drive this dog out there another an hour, hour and a half. And I'm sure you're well aware of this, Lieutenant, as well, because you supervise that unit. And then there's a charge for somebody to get the dog out of impound. So again, you're probably looking well over $1,000 to $1,500 not only to the city and also to the person who has lost their animal. Okay, in addition to any other traumatic effect. There are more than a few cities that are going to this type of ordinance and requesting that upon the time of the licensing that the owner provides a microchip information on there, and so therefore the dog is readily identified. My understanding as well with the organization which the city contracts with in order to licensing is already set up for it. So there is no indication where they have to do anything to their software at all in order to update it. Again, takes a quick phone call. They can call down there, or what they can do is wand the dog themselves, because we already have that equipment already in an inventory, and therefore, if anything, it's a minimal cost to do that. That is what my proposal for this, that we submit this. I believe everybody had a copy of it. Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I fanned it out through.
Okay, so a copy of this should have been sent as such for the ordinance itself.
And can I add something?
Please.
The chair, I need for the record, top. The chair recognizes Commissioner Wadnicki.
And I think it's important to note, because it came up multiple times during a council meeting, that what are we doing discussing microchipping of animals or dogs in specifics? I think council forgets that animal control falls under public safety. Again, animal control falls under public safety. So if they forget, they can look at the flow chart, they can look at their own website. It is a public safety issue that affects everyone in the community. It is overseen by our public safety department. And again, it's a public safety issue. Just in case people are busy, they forget.
And in fact, this is only a recommendation.
The chair recognizes Commissioner.
That this is a recommendation to the council.
Correct.
To consider as an advisory.
Correct.
Okay.
This is an advisory memo.
Right.
Which
and
is
not as
our
that
charter.
We're forcing this. It's no different that if they choose not to, of me standing in front of them for my 3 minutes to be able to convince them to do that. Okay, I'm sorry, yield.
Agreed. The chair recognizes Commissioner Gall.
Thank you. Commissioner Escontrias, what is the number of dogs and cats that are lost and killed each year in Redondo Beach? Any idea on that one? Like where you see the lost dog and find my dog, and how many would you estimate a year?
I don't know that, and I don't think even the department can quantify that.
Right.
However, let's look at it this way. If it were your dog,
I know.
Then suddenly it doesn't matter whether it was 5 or 5,000.
I agree.
Okay. The estimates within the state of California is that 80% of all homes in the state of California will have some type of pet animal.
Right.
And about 65% of those are actual dogs. Okay. So therefore, we can look at that. My understanding is in animal control, there are only 2,220 something dogs that are licensed in this city. But if you do the numbers, okay, we should have maybe about 15,000 dogs. Okay. So again, whatever reason, I don't think that if you can go up and say, well, we're only losing 5 dogs. Okay. If you look at the trend on many of the city of Los Angeles is looking at this, Houston already has it, Las Vegas already has it. If you go back, in fact, I was on a conversation this morning on a project I'm working with the Carson Animal Shelter. Okay. They unfortunately have their kill shelter. Okay. And the thing is that the faster we can get dogs back to people, the better off we are.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Our shelters are filling up. Okay. The foster dogs. So I understand your question, sir, but I would think that the number is not necessarily an issue. We can go it from a number of dogs. We can also go on the fiscal side as to how much money is it costing us.
Right.
And again, the difference between about a $1,500 per dog to maybe $150. Okay. I think it makes fiscal responsibility for that. In addition to that, our officer has other duties as well as having to drive to Inglewood to drop the animal off. Okay.
Wow.
We do now have a temporary kennel. Yes, we do. Because I worked on that project. Okay. Which basically was required and needed because they were housing dogs in the trucks overnight and over the weekend. Yes.
Where would you get the revenue or budget to, this sounds like it would be like $500,000 to get all the dogs microchipped in the city of Redondo Beach, advertised, they have labor costs.
No.
Like what if it's 150 times 15,000, for example?
Okay. The Redondo Beach Dog Park, okay, of which I am a member of.
Right.
And have been for 25 years.
Right.
For the past 3 years, we offered for free,
Wow.
$25 microchips, okay, for free. So the cost of you losing your dog, having to drive to Inglewood, just like it's no different than the cost that you have for car insurance, okay, health insurance for your dog or whatever else. So I understand that, but again, the thing is that the city's not going to pay for those.
Right, I know.
Each individual is responsible for that. Now, if they choose not to, that is, and again, and I don't think it discourages people from licensing their dog anyway. I think the city discourages it just by the method that they do it. Okay, I know quite a few people that they don't want to go online and go in the hassle of the archaic, and some people are just not going to do it anyway.
Right.
So, but it does give us leverage that later on that if our people are having to drive all over the place for that, I think it just adds one little more safeguard to that. Okay.
What would you like the council to do on this topic?
That they amend the Municipal Code 5-1200 to add the additional requirement to licensing. Currently, it states in there that in order to license a dog, you're required to provide a certificate of rabies. Okay, which is then, and it does delineate who can administer or how it has to be done, basically administered by a veterinarian, a licensed veterinarian and such.
Yeah.
Okay. We add the things that not only does it has to have a certificate of rabies, but you have to have a certificate certifying that you have your dog is chipped, and the number of the chip and the organization to which that the city can access 24 hours a day. And then once they do that, the city at the same time, if they care to do outreach, there are minimum of 5 different free organizations nationwide that you can register your dog with, including the American Kennel Club.
What's the turn time to sign up for one of those? Is it like a few weeks or is it like the next day?
No, you submit it right away.
And then
Go right online.
I see.
You put the numbers in. This is my dog. You check on it. If your dog gets lost in the morning, ideally, again,
How does the microchip gets implanted? No?
it's implanted generally in the neck.
Right. And then how long is that after registering your dog and going for the appointment? How long does it take to get an appointment to actually get that done?
I'm sorry, sir.
So if you want your dog microchipped, obviously you're not going to do it yourself. You can have somebody.
You can, but
That'd be kind of scary. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. How long would it take to get a professional volunteer to do that for you, like get an appointment and so forth?
I know of several of the organizations such as Petco, PetSmart, whatever else.
Right.
They do it immediately.
Oh, interesting.
You walk in and you're going to have to get your rabies shot anyway.
Interesting.
Okay, which is due generally every year for puppies under a certain age and every 3 years for an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. When you walk in there, you say, hey, I would like this vaccine. Oh, and by the way, can you chip my dog? Done immediately.
So maybe you'd have something on the Redondo Beach City page, say microchip your dog or pet. I don't know. We can talk about scope at another time, but to say here are some.
It's dog.
It's dog.
In case you're,
Yeah.
I just don't appreciate you trying to make a joke of it. because it makes everyone, it's a poor reflection of all of us.
Yep.
So please don't.
Okay.
It's dog.
Okay, great. So we're saying microchip your dog. We put that on the redondo.org website, and here's a list of volunteers or NGOs or stores, pet stores, et cetera, that you can go to, but this is an advisory licensing. And then you would want the city council to pass that for dogs, and then that would be promoted out through all the public marketing means and website and the Redondo Beach Police Instagram and all that other fun stuff.
Yes, in the package that I submitted, which can also be submitted to them, it does give information from the American Kennel Club as to, I believe they indicate that a dog is 50% more likely to be returned within 2 days or a day and a half of being chipped, not necessarily just part of the registration. So the numbers go up, and especially when you start asking for that. The outreach, again, is when the animal control does, or like public safety open house, they'll say, hey, chip it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what ends up happening again is I think it can be somewhat confusing initially, but I think most people understand that anybody has a dog, they understand that it's chipped. If you go to a rescue group,
Right.
okay, or even a shelter, prior to getting that dog out, they've already scanned the dog, okay, making sure that doesn't belong to you, because there's also an ownership issue. If somebody steals your dog and you got Barky running around, hey, that's my dog, how can you prove it? You can pull it, you can wand the dog. It's very unlikely that that chip is going to migrate too far.
Right.
Or fall out. I mean, can you cut it out? Yes, you can.
Right.
Like anything else. But it's a lot better than what was done before, basically with tattoo dogs.
As long as the person who owns the dog is handling any sort of payment and it's not borne on residents as a form of tax or anything like that. No,
not at all.
Then this is a good advisory for dogs and so forth. And I see those posters up of dogs being lost. There's like 300 flyers up on all the stop signs. And
Yes.
people down the street had whatever animal dog or outside dog, they find that it's been shredded by a bunch of raccoons because maybe they didn't have it, put in the home properly and so forth, or didn't watch over it when they were on vacation. So it's very tragic, of course.
You want to say on the unfortunate reality side, if your dog were to be injured or killed
Yes.
and they pick the dog up, they can wand the dog then, and now you will get closure. It's unfortunate, and I throw that out there because I've had clients that I have worked with that said, here's my dog, and this is how we found out. Because I see that on Nextdoor quite a bit. In fact, probably the last 2 or 3 weeks, Nextdoor has been inundated with, hey, whose dog is this? Whose dog is that? I don't want to send it.
On Ring as well.
Right. The other side you get into is people say, for example, your dog gets out and runs down the street, somebody snatches it up, and they don't want to turn it over to the police.
Right.
They don't want to turn it over because they're afraid of it going to a shelter, and now suddenly we have an issue of not turning property over. Dogs are considered property. So if you do find a dog, you actually are required to turn it over to the police.
That's
or
right.
animal control. Okay.
And so to save any sort of unnecessary termination, you'd have
Yes.
a microchip.
And generally they do that.
That's good. So who's going to make a motion for this one? Thank you. Yeah, appreciate the explanation.
Okay, I make a motion that an advisory note, if you will, the request that the city council take in consideration the amending of municipal code 5-1.200. Hopefully you're taking this down because I don't want to kick this down either.
Oh, no, it's happening. It's happening. We got you.
All right. Amending of the municipal code 5-1.200 concerning the licensing of dogs to add the requirement that in addition to the requirement of rabies vaccination, that information concerning chips, a microchip of a dog to be placed and be required and to be placed in the dog's official registration with the city. Question?
I wanted to make a comment. I never got an opportunity.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's
No
okay.
worries.
Yeah. So,
We have a motion. We have a motion.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I've been a resident here in Redondo Beach and property owner for 39 years, 14 of those years plus as a dog owner. And my observations have been that hardly anybody volunteers when they get a dog to go have them licensed. The only time the dog gets licensed is when there's a problem and somebody complains, and then they're forced to. And I wonder what effect this will have. Let's say this were to pass. Will that be as more encouragement to people to license their dogs, or is it going to make the situation worse now where the dogs are not licensed unless a problem occurs and they're forced to do so?
Again, the issue, I think the people that would not license their dog are probably still not going to do it for whatever reason, whether they don't like oversight or they don't feel it's necessary, or the cost for that matter.
Yep.
However, what people don't realize that if you're over the age of 60, the licensing is $10 only for seniors. Licensing is $10, whereas if you are under the age, it is $20. So this isn't something where we're looking to really, make a whole lot of money off, because we're not. I mean, we're at a loss when with the 16 animal control officers there. I understand that, but I also believe that currently our animal control unit is not as aggressive as it could be. However, that is because of other issues that they have to deal with. And unfortunately, what occurs is that when an incident does occur, like anything else, that's when enforcement comes in. And sometimes that is a tool to enforcement. So if a guy's walking his dog off leash everywhere and won't take heed to the several warnings he's probably getting, the next step in that is enforcement by saying, show me your license. Now, you don't have a license, we'll spark you up. Okay, and that's how in essence, that's what it does. The other side that is, if you have a vicious dog, a dog that gets out somewhere and bites someone. Yeah. Okay, what some people have done, and I've done this. I've been working in the pet field for going on 46 years now. Okay, I've trained dogs all over the world. So what happens then is that if a dog bites somebody, and suddenly what people will do is say, "Not my dog."
We'll say, yes, it is.
Yeah, and then why? Because you're required to report any dog bite within 72 hours, which is also a misdemeanor. That if you don't report, if you do not give your information to the victim where your dog bites within 72 hours, it is a misdemeanor. Okay, so I mean, if you're concerned about some of the laws and the rules, you can go to the Redondo Beach Dog Park website. I have every law pertaining to dogs in the Redondo Beach area on the website.
Can
But
I
anyway,
add something to Commissioner Kleinbaum, just to answer your question a little bit too, and maybe you can give some insight into this. When I used to run microchipping clinics on the East Coast, and what I would see sometimes is that people, after getting their dog microchipped, would go home and maybe not fill in the paperwork. So even though they received a chip and it was registered online, they didn't fill in their name and address. But here's an avenue where they can register when they license their dog with the city. At least the city will have that chip and that information. So if they fail to register that information, maybe their day was busy and they lost the paper, at least maybe that's going to be with the city. So they can reunite that way. So it's kind of like a second avenue of reconnecting a dog with their owner.
and there's no additional cost. It's like license is $10. We don't charge you extra for not having it. I mean, for the microchip itself. The license is a license, just like with the rabies, because you can get a rabies shot anywhere from $12 up to $175, depending on where you go. So it's up to the incumbent, and you can do this almost every weekend. There is some type of low cost chipping all over the South Bay.
Anybody want to second that motion? I guess Chair.
So we have a motion.
Were we complete with that motion?
We are. We just need a
so, okay.
second. But I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Kleinbaum?
I'm done, yeah.
Commissioner Gall?
I'm done.
Commissioner Wadley? All right, we have a motion.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. I had to count, sorry.
I said aye, by the way, for the dog. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Any comments online?
No one on Zoom, and no e-comments.
Okay, great. I4? discussion on juvenile delinquency. We had some asks of our liaison with respect to this. So it's not a new discussion. We're not continuing, but we can. But I just want to remind the commissioners that we had some asks of our liaison, and I believe, so I'll turn it over to
Sorry, it's
Officer
still-
Lostrom. Oh, no worries, no worries. Officer Lostrom to begin, and then if we want to have discussion points thereafter.
All right. So our crime analyst pulled some numbers for juvenile traffic citations, May 2024 through 2025 at 273. The top 3 violations being stop sign, helmet, and then red light and speed. And then juvenile arrests or other citations, May 2024 to 2025 is 74. Top 3 is 602, which is like a welfare and institutions code that goes on pretty much every juvenile arrest. Petty theft and 148A1 is like a resisting, obstructing, delaying an officer misdemeanor section. Let's see if you think
That's by trespassing, 601 would be the arrest section, right?
for juvie, 602? PC.
That would be PC, so it would be.
Trespassing.
Trespassing. Good info.
Welfare institution.
Officer Lofstrom, can
Or
you,
that.
It could be, it's not clear.
what's 22450?
Get some clarification on that.
22450.
Helmet.
22,450 is stop sign.
What's
Thank
that
you.
sign?
21,212A is helmet, and 21,453 and 22,350 are red light and speed, respectively.
Thank you for that update, Commissioner Escondrias.
No.
Commissioner Kleinbaum, this was your matter, so.
I have a question. I don't know, can you comment, are these groups or they're individuals when the citation is issued? What's your
Just
date on that?
Citations are issued individually.
I know, but there could be a whole group of juveniles and they all get cited, or it could be just one juvenile alone by himself or herself.
That's typically not clear on the citation information.
Yeah. Just trying to understand if they're like organized groups
It happens both
doing
ways,
this.
though.
Yeah. And then the other question too is, what does this mean? I mean, it's a quantity, it's a 273, that sounds like a lot. Okay, but there's many people in the city and there are many juveniles, so I don't know what, I don't know if this is good or bad or means something else. What's the meaning of this data? Like, if you
This
don't know
was
what to
just
do
a
with it,
request.
it's something, we asked for it, I know, and what are we gonna do with this? Is the question.
Yeah, and that's sort of a, not sort of, but what Commissioner Blair put to us. Like, okay, once we get the data, then how do we decide, I'm sorry, Commissioner Carmichael, how do we decide what we're, what do we, the court reported, what do we decide we want to drill down on?
Yeah.
So I would sort of posit the question with you, what does it mean
Oh.
to you? Like, when you brought it up
Yeah.
and we discussed it, and then you asked, and I believe, hold on, because it pains me to say positive things about Commissioner Escondrias, but Commissioner Escondrias asked that we really think about, when we ask these questions and we ask for these data points, what then is our next action? So, I mean, it doesn't mean we have to resolve it tonight, because Commissioner Blair wanted to be a part of that conversation as well. So I'm still going to continue it, but I'd be open to.
I can make a comment. If there were 0 citations or a very low number, it means either it's not enforced at all or there's no problem, one or the other. But since you see 273 and 74, that means that it exists. There's violations of the code by juveniles. We have that in the city. How grave it is, I can't comment, but it's occurring in the city. We have a large number, 273 citations. So one can say that we have juveniles committing traffic violations and they're being cited in the city. And then so there's evidence that it's occurring. No one can deny that, yeah.
And it's evidence that there is enforcement. So when we get comments like, oh, nothing's being done, or they're just running rampant, this, this data doesn't sort of support. Now, one could argue it should have been 500 citations, and it's only 200. We can do that. So definitely thank you for this information. Thank you for this insight. And I'm going to make I'm sorry, Commissioner Gall.
I'd like to ask staff, what's the kind of the average or median of these citation costs to the parents who have to pay for them?
That's all, it usually varies. It's all determined like on the court side.
I gotcha. I remember my $10 ticket for not having a sticker on the back of my car in Newport Beach, so that's why I asked. I got out of that with very good behavior. And he ran me through a lot of questioning. But that would be an important thing to add. I just want to thank staff for providing data. I know that City Council's purview in closed session, and also just with their scope that they cover, they get a lot more data than we do. But I do appreciate responding to our ask for data. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Wadnicki.
Are the stop sign violations vehicular or on bicycles?
That's not specified in this data. That would be like an additional breakdown. There's over the last year, there's obviously been a huge e-bike topic. So if I would have to ask if she specifically excluded, I don't think she did. I asked for the total. But I would imagine that a good number for the juveniles are bicycle, just due to that being a heavy topic and a strong mission of the traffic unit for the past year and a half or so.
I would be curious, looking at prior years before e-bikes became commonplace, like maybe pre-COVID, what the numbers were in terms of citations, just to give you an idea if this is becoming a problematic issue in terms of what Commissioner Kleinbaum said, what do you do with these numbers? So you'd have to compare them. Is there any difference? You want to break them down. Is it car versus bike? You want to know, what is the police doing? What do these numbers mean to you? It's not, we're the lay persons, but you're the experts, right? So when you see numbers like this, what are officers doing? What's your game plan when you see that?
I would say generally speaking, the e-bike issue probably hit its stride like towards the end of last year. And there was a ton of data and presentations from the chief and special operations lieutenant on the topic in depth and detail. And I would say it peaked sometime last year, probably around the summertime, and then it slowly faded as more and more attention was driven towards it. Some like school programs that they've implemented, a heavy amount of enforcement by us, and we have seen a general tapering off of the complaints on the issue, which typically indicate it's being seen less, and therefore obviously hopefully coming down from its peak issue where you would see more and more complaints about them violating, typically as it pertains to e-bikes, violating like traffic laws would be probably the big one. There's some connection with kids committing juvenile delinquency, and then their mode of transportation happens to be e-bikes in this current day and age, as opposed to scooters 10 or 15, or in my era, and then skateboards in another 15, 20 years before that. But those correlations would probably be harder to research.
That's all.
Thank you. I'll just go around one more time. Commissioner Contreras.
I'm good for this.
Commissioner Kleinbaum.
No, that's all.
Commissioner Gall.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we continue this. And in K and K, Commissioner Wadnicki, if you want to add some items to our liaisons list with respect to additional reports, we could put it in there.
Right, for more numbers. Yeah, I understand.
So I'm going to make a motion that we continue I-4 to our next meeting. I'm going to make a motion that we continue.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Fantastic. Any e-comments? Anyone online?
Nobody online, and no e-comments.
Great. Item J, J1, discussion of recent events in our city prosecutor's office. And would you know it, we have someone from our city prosecutor. If you could introduce yourself for the record, that'd be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Stephanie Johnson. I'm a senior deputy city prosecutor with the city attorney's office. And as a point of clarification on I-4, the juvenile delinquency, Welfare and Institution Code 602 is the code section that provides jurisdiction for juvenile delinquency court to hear cases that involve minors, juveniles. So that would not be a specific violation. That just provides the jurisdiction for the courts to hear those types of matters. Penal Code Section 602 is a type of crime usually and commonly known as trespassing. So that's probably where the citation is for Penal Code Section 602, just as a point of clarification, because they both have 602 in their designation. But I am here in my now third month as a senior deputy city prosecutor. My primary role, I think I might have mentioned last month when I was here, focuses on quality of life type cases, which is a broad range of things that I handle. Anything dealing with code enforcement, animal control. I also handle mental health court cases, I oversee homeless court in certain capacities, and I cover in Torrance Court when the other prosecutors need assistance because they are in trial or unavailable. So I have a wide range of cases that I handle. I know when I was here last time, Commissioner Escontrias had asked about some numbers as it relates to cases that are filed by the city prosecutor's office. And I have some numbers in that regard. So in addition to Redondo Beach misdemeanor filings, we also contract with the city of Hermosa and handle their misdemeanor filings. And I met with Melanie Shavira in that regard to discuss some of that data and how many cases are reviewed annually. For Hermosa Beach, it is about 600 to 800 cases per year that we review. For Redondo Beach, it's between 1,800 and 2,000. And specifically, Commissioner Escontrias asked me last time for a number of cases that aren't filed after they've been reviewed by our office, and it's estimated around 10% of cases that are reviewed between Hermosa and Redondo are ultimately not filed after they've been reviewed by a city prosecutor or one of her designees.
Thank you. All right. We're going to go around the room. Thank you. Commissioner Escontrias, I see you right now. Commissioner Escontrias.
Thank you. Again, so approximately 10% are either sent for either rejected or sent back for further investigation. Is that kind of what we're saying?
So that's twofold. Yes, that could be rejected. Typically means that the case is not, when it's fully rejected, it means that the case for one reason or another will not be able to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt in court. and/or there might be a legal issue presented at the time of filing that prohibits the prosecution from going forward, whether it's a Fourth Amendment or some other legal issue that prohibits the case from being filed. If a case is rejected for what you call further investigation, that allows the city attorney's office to present the case back to either the assigned detective or the arresting officer to provide clarification or more information. Once that information gets back to us based on whatever was asked of them, then it's reviewed further and to see whether that case can be filed or whether it's going to remain rejected. There is a sort of third, which is not as commonly used, but it's still available, at least in the city of Redondo Beach, where there is an opportunity in certain cases to present them to an office hearing, where the case isn't formally filed, but there is some oversight with an independent governing body. Usually it's a hearing officer, and those cases, ultimately, if the person complies with the terms and conditions of set forth in that office hearing, it won't ultimately, those criminal charges won't get filed.
Yeah, well, then again, so theoretically, you worked at the DA's office before, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
generally we have like a blue sheet.
The what?
The blue sheet, remember, as you recall that when you reject or whatever else, you gave a blue sheet
Yes,
as
the
to
DA
why.
reject.
Okay, do you have something similar to that? So kind of indicate as to the reasons as to why a reject, and this way the officer, the detectives understand, okay, this is why, and it becomes a permanent record of, as to that?
Yes, there are forms in our filing system that will delineate the reasons for the rejections. Yes.
My concern on that, so that it's coming from maybe from a supervisor's point of view, is that if there are issues concerning, like you said, rights issues or possibly not sufficient probable cause, that if it becomes a training issue, that somehow we can address it before it becomes a problem.
Sure.
Okay, and I believe that's generally what the blue sheet used to do as well, other than kicking it down from a felony to a misdemeanor. Office hearings also, I think, are really good, even a diversion type program, but it also allows them to, and we used to call it cleared other, as opposed to cleared by arrest or straight out reject. But no, I thank you. I think it's important that we understand that there has to be a connection between an arrest and also the filing policies to determine that, because sometimes if we don't understand, because we can sit there and say, we've got 500 people we have arrested, but then our filings are only 10, there's either some disconnect or that there's needs to be a reason that where are we going with this? And I think that the liability on that becomes greater, especially now when we're kind of looking at that. But thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Kleinbaum.
If only 10% of the cases get dropped, that's really good.
I agree.
We work really hard. We're very busy.
Thank you. Commissioner Gall.
I don't have anything, but thank you for the hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you didn't have to. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Commissioner Wadnicki.
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask you two questions. Number one, how are you doing?
Oh, that's very nice of you to ask. I'm very well, thank you. It's an honor to work with the city. I work with a great group of people, and I look forward to just continuing forward with my role as the quality of life prosecutor and see where it takes me.
Awesome. And two, do you know who manages the quality of life inbox? And my 2A is, and do you have stats on how many emails come in and are meaningfully responded to? Not like the auto reply, thank you for your email, but like we got back to it and you can see that it closes. So that's my second.
Good question.
That is a good question. I don't know specifically. I don't believe I have been added to that
Sure, Lindsay.
particular
Right.
email yet. I have seen it. I do know that there is a group of people that include, I know code enforcement is involved in it, but I will circle back with you
That'd be great.
in that regard for next month and get some clarity on the quality of life email.
Inbox, yes.
Right, inbox.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we want to promote that with our, with those that are, play this back, and we get emails, and folks started showing up at my house. I may have to move, but, and it would be lovely to, hold on. It would be lovely to be able to just say to them, like, it's a credible mailbox, so forth and so on. So I appreciate that. Commissioner Gall.
I can't thank the Redondo Beach traffic unit for solving a local issue that I had in town with a trash truck picking up trash right by Lincoln Elementary while kids were going to school, and there was that quick left turn into the one-way on Plant, and the truck, or the Athens truck, was slowly moving along while cars were passing along with the kids trying to cross the street, stuff like that. So those are little things that probably quality of life gets involved with, and I appreciate it. And I remember that Lieutenant King responded to one of my emails when there was an issue with noise or something, and he said, you need to go and call the main office. And so there's kind of a protocol in using it. So I know there's a number of people that looked that email over, but I've been very happy with noise control and other happenings in my neighborhood. So it's worked out pretty well. Thank you.
All right, one more round. Commissioner Escondria.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Kleinbaum.
I'm fine.
Commissioner Gall.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wadnicki.
No.
Anyone online? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's on.
Yep.
Hello, Brian Long with the PD. I want to say thank you to the City Prosecutor's Office. They do an amazing amount of work. I know Mike Webb came and spoke earlier this year, and we do almost 3,000 cases and misdemeanors a year, where other cities that are much bigger than us are doing like 500, 600 cases. So you guys are very busy. Thank you very much. And we are losing our senior, Melanie Chavera, the city prosecutor. She just got appointed to be a judge in the Superior District here. So congratulations to her, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, I don't know where Mike Webb spoke, but he didn't speak here.
What?
He didn't speak here. He can speak here.
You didn't speak here?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. I was like, I want to ride with you. I want to ride with you right now. I do.
It's probably wrestling in a different league, Lieutenant.
I do. I was like,
Go
no,
Gauchos.
don't say it. Don't say it.
Thank you. I'll see you guys next month.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Let me know when you're ready, Officer Lostrom. Okay. We're moving on to item J3, discussion on recent updates on, that's not you. Discussion on recent updates on enhanced response to homelessness. I'm going to start on this. In addition to the monthly updates, which are attached to J3, I got a call from CityNet, who got a call and a voicemail. The timeline's important. So the council, led by the mayor
Chair.
and Finance.
You jumped from J1 to J3.
You skipped.
Oh, did I skip you? Oh, so it is you. You're J2. Sorry. I was very. I can't wait.
Sorry,
Okay,
it took
I'm
me
sorry.
so long. I just
Taurus.
wanted to be very confident before I spoke.
Okay.
Motion to put the car in
J2, I know, let's reverse the agenda. No, that moment is past. J2, discussion of crime recap. I'm doing this without my glasses. That's what happened. That's what I'm blaming. Discussion of crime recap, community policing volunteers.
In addition to the crime recap, I do want to cover a press release for a death investigation that occurred on July 10th. On Thursday, July 10th, 2025, at approximately 6:25 a.m., officers from the Redondo Beach Police Department responded to the South Bay Galleria parking structure located at 1815 Hawthorne Boulevard regarding a report of a possible death investigation. Upon arrival, officers located a deceased male individual at the scene. Based on the preliminary investigation, the incident has been determined to be a suicide. No other individuals are believed to be involved, and there's no danger to the public. Los Angeles County Coroner's Office was notified and is responding for the investigation. At this time, the decedent has not been identified. He's described as a male unknown race. Once identification is confirmed, the coroner's office will make notification to the next of kin. No further details at that time. On to, oops, 1 second, sorry. Closed my window here on accident. Our teens and policing class has begun. We had a coffee with the cop at Einstein Bagels across the street here on June 26th. We had our UCLA blood drive. I was shooting for 100 donations. There were some no-shows and some walk-ins. There was an unusually high number of deferrals, which means that at that moment they don't qualify to donate blood for one reason or another. But I got up to 84 was the final number. So 260, yeah. 260. A good amount of lives saved, 3 per unit. We did have a neighborhood watch meeting on July 17th. The upcoming events, the LACPCA Canine Show, which we play host to at the Redondo Union High School, is Saturday, July 26th. It goes from 1 to 5, but the show starts at 3. So from 1 to 3, they have a lot of vendors set up and meet and greets and so on. We are partnering with Chick-fil-A to do a drive-through event where we hang out at their drive-through and hand out fun toys for the kiddos. And we sponsor a coupon code that raises money for the South Bay Cancer Support Community.
Is that by aviation there?
Yes, yes, Chick-fil-A, Redondo Beach, Flagler, and
Artesia.
About Flagler and Artesia.
Artesia, yeah, it's Flagler and Artesia.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Flagler-ish, right across from Pep Boys.
Great.
Your community-based officer will be doing a library story time for the kiddos at the Redondo Beach Main Library on August 6th. We have National Night Out August 9th, and we begin Citizens Academy Class 52 at the end of August. Our VIP hours are up to, for 2025, 1,767. On this one, he created an admin hours because there's kind of 2 separate duties. The total would be around 2,500 and 4,832 calls for service for them. And yes, that is my spiel.
Thank you. Any member of the public online comments?
No one raising hands and still no e-comments.
Great. Commissioner Contreras?
I have 2 things. The one is the Volunteers in Policing. An organization that I'm a part of submitted a recognition of the Volunteers in Policing from the Presidential Points of Light probably about 4 months ago, and requested that the City Council present it to these particular volunteers in the city of Redondo Beach. So basically the Points of Light are that when you do a certain number of volunteer hours within an organization, the president gives a citation for that. My organization decided that we would pay for and get them in order to acknowledge the volunteers in policing. For whatever reason, the council, rather, I would say, well, we'll put it, the council opted not to present it to them, which disturbs me greatly. As a volunteer and as a citizen of this city, is that I believe that these people are doing a lot of good work, and that I think somehow snubbing them that way is problematic. So my question would be, how would one be able to have somebody of some level of authority, if you will, present it to them and not just throw it in like in a cubby hole and say, here you go, thanks a lot. my concern is that if one if necessary, that I present it to you and that you give it to the chief and hopefully it filters down properly in a manner and method, I think that would show them that somehow people truly care and not just, work for that. So that's my first one. My second question would be, because it was brought up by the department, as a total number of neighborhood watch groups within the city. I was requested years back as, to be a neighborhood watch captain. I know how they work. I've worked them myself. My concern would be, because it was placed out there, is that is one method of dissemination of information to the community. But I believe there is a difference between the total number that we have on paper and the total number that are active.
Always.
Okay? Because if we've got 300 and it feels good, the numbers good, look good, but you're only talking to 15 people, I believe that has to be addressed. And again, there's a lot of different reasons as to why there is a disconnect. And many times it is not the department's fault. Okay, people sign up for it, and then suddenly you're sending them stuff, and then suddenly they moved away and forgot to tell you. But I think, again, the thing is that the community should be aware, that we have that, for one, and I think the true numbers, so that either one, that the council or somebody else decides to, let's do some little more outreach and kind of take the burden off of you guys and let them, during their community meetings, each council member, say, hey, if you want good police, you need to talk to the police. And we're pushing you to do this. Okay. So my question here is, one, how many neighborhood watch, organized neighborhood watch groups do we have, and how many of which are active?
I'll tell you right now. I just lost my window here again.
Yes, because that is somewhere. I saw that stat. It's on one of your sites.
I've seen before where you say total number, but they're not the reality of what is active. And again, it could fluctuate between 5, depending on what day of the week it is.
147 captains covering 188 blocks.
How many of those are active?
We don't, I would have to only speculate based on active, meaning reply back to newsletters, or I run into out in the community and they say, oh, hey, I'm block captain for so-and-so. I could only speculate a random number, but it's not something that it's not like a super exclusive club that we keep tabs on membership with. It's like open, ongoing, constant engagement. Anyone that wishes to be on the newsletter, just simply for the information that we include with neighborhood watch groups, we give it to. And generally speaking, maybe once a year or so, some incident will occur where someone moves away, they'll transfer it to somebody else, that becomes a point, and we field probably 3 to 4. And last year I feel like I had 5 or 6 new inquiries at least. And we either get them in touch with a block captain that's already in place for where they live, or encourage them to start a group. And then we'll have annual to biannual block captain meetings at the station. And we'll get anywhere from 20, 25 people up. One time I had 50. And there was a standing room only in our little room. I was unprepared for that.
It was at that meeting.
So that's about where we're at as far as neighborhood watch goes. But the information flow is active to anyone on that list. And we prepare weekly newsletters with all our events, links to our ongoing crime stats, or anything else that comes up really that's relevant to community-oriented policing and problem solving.
Well, my concern again is that force multiplication, okay? And the eyes and ears of the community to be able to say, oh, this is what we have. 1/3 of them, and I get it, every volunteer organization has that same problem. Everybody shows up, everybody feels good, okay, talk about it, but then it dies out, okay? But my concern would be, because it was put out to us, is that somehow this is the strongest thing there ever is. It was somehow put out that they're, running, looking around and sneaking and peeking. And when in fact, and I'm not trying to say that I want to denigrate it at all and saying, but I think the reality is such as that, let's talk real numbers. If you have only 45 people who show up or respond to anything, then that's incumbent on us to say, hey, is there something we can do about this? Or is it something the council can do about this? Because obviously you have more to do as well. But I think the reality is when you're talking to the community that you're going to give us real numbers, not speculative. And it goes through if you send out an email tomorrow and said, okay, block captains, how many are active? And when was the last time you had a meeting? I don't think there's any shame in that, to be quite honest with you. I think it's important that when we are handling volunteers, that we know where we are, because what happens is when I would not want the chief to be embarrassed when he gets up and says, we have 140 of them, and we say, excuse me, but do we really? And then he doesn't. I don't think we should put the chief in that situation, because it may come up. That and other things in which the chief has indicated that there is somehow of a communication. I mean, yelling in space does not mean that somebody's listening to it on the other end.
Awesome.
So if we could do that, I would hope that we could do something like that, or maybe somebody within your office is to address it. I'm not trying to lay anybody out on this, but because again, I was offering to do a neighborhood watch in my community, and nobody got back to me for 4 months.
When did you do that? In the last 4 years?
Probably longer than that. Again,
okay.
Discouragement kind of goes for a long time. It's saying, well, if you don't care, why should I care? Okay. So and again, okay. I just want to make sure is that we are looking at real numbers. Again, people are accusing us of doing nothing, and I think sometimes and asking all the wrong questions. I think this is a viable question, and I'm not trying to embarrass anybody with this, but so if we can possibly look at that.
Sure.
Thank you.
I probably won't exclude anybody that's on that list. No, if they email me back, they email me back. But this is the number of responses we've gotten over a period of time.
Sure.
But again, it's ever evolving, and it's coincidental too in a period of time where someone doesn't see an email or that one goes to spam. We just keep it as kind of an electronic door open type of situation. And since it's just an ongoing community policing program that we want to get as many people in the club as we can. And
I think there's a difference.
The numbers are, or at least I would say are low stakes. We've collected this number, and so like I said, we probably keep an electronic. I can tell you how many responses we'd get in a one-off email. Would that work?
But I'd be satisfied with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I ran a neighborhood watch program like that, and one time when I first took over, we had 500 people. Oh, great! And then turned out we only had like 30. When it really came down to it, half the people were dead and gone. And so the thing again is that for me to go to my boss and say, "Hey, we've got this. This is great," and he gets up there and says, "It's great," and everybody says, "I don't think so." Again, that's an embarrassment. I don't think we really need to do. I wouldn't rely on the response rate for an email either, though. Too like I don't want to close it. I just don't want to close any doors. No, but my concern would be.
So I wouldn't probably decrease the number unless somebody would actively say, "We're not doing this anymore," and there's no one to pass it off to.
Right, and I think there's a difference between being a member of the club, or you're just a hang around.
Yeah.
Okay, big difference between the two, and I think, and then that's sometimes it either shows that we either need to step it up, or the council needs to step it up, and then pull the people in that they're actually just as responsible for safety in the community than the police are. This is force multiplication, and actually what it basically does as well, it causes people to have more buy-in into their community and in their neighborhood.
Thank you, sir.
And then the first part about the certificates.
Oh, I sent you an email. I did make the request, but the police department wasn't interested just because there's the nexus to Redondo Beach isn't there. So Redondo Beach would.
They're being recognized for the work that they've done in Redondo Beach.
Yeah.
From the President of the United States.
The source of the award goes.
The I mean, if you don't want to give it to them, I would somebody just tell me. But the organization that has paid for it, okay, is based in Redondo Beach.
Wait, can you just, I'm sorry, I might have missed it, but can you say exactly why they don't want to acknowledge these volunteers?
The police department would rather do their own recognition of
So do they do
their
that, and
volunteer. Yeah,
how
there's
often?
stuff that happens throughout the year. There's
Right. Do they invite the public?
no, I probably not.
Okay.
I have a comment on that. I don't recall his name, and I don't want to share the name just for confidentiality, but Mayor Brand went to great lengths at a city council meeting to honor a volunteer in policing before I think he passed away a few months before. And that was really good of the police chief and also the mayor and the city council. I was, as a resident, watching the whatever the honoring and awarding, whatever style they did, it was very top notch. So it's not a closed door thing, not from my perspective. Thank you.
Yeah, that doesn't preclude you from giving it to them.
But I just find it a little bit disingenuous that you would prevent one of your volunteers from getting a citation from somebody because it didn't come from you or from the department or from the city. So that would also go as if I happen to drive through your city or a city and a police officer pulls me over, and even though I'm not a resident and they're very courteous or whatever else, and I write a commendation for them, there's nothing to preclude me writing a commendation for an officer for a job well done because I don't live in the city. Again,
right.
The citation...
We're not precluding you from giving them the award that you...
Okay, but you're just saying that it's department... Well, let me ask you this. I would ask that you go to your staff, your chief, or your channel, and ask if it's possible. And that way I get a definitive yes.
They don't want to do it because they would rather issue their own. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The request went up the chain of command.
It has.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore there's an email somewhere indicating that you made that request saying, hey, we would like to give them this, but then they said, no, we want to do our own.
I don't know if I did it by email. It was a few months ago.
Okay.
I think probably just had a conversation.
Probably or did?
I don't recall exactly, Gil.
Okay. No.
I went to the chief and I said, hey, are you interested at some point, either via some sort of avenue to get to the chief's opinion on the awards? And it was given back to me that we aren't interested because they didn't come from us.
Okay, I just want to get clarification.
If Gil would like to give the awards to those individuals, he is welcome to do so.
Okay, I just want to get clarification on how that works because in the future, if something else pops up, that we will be all aware of what the policy and procedure of the department is.
Sure.
That's it. Okay, Michael, go on.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kleinbaum?
Can I make comments about the Part 1 recap?
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed there's like unlocked cars. People leave their cars unlocked and they break in and they don't break in. Their doors are unlocked and so they help themselves.
Yes.
And so I'm shocked. People don't lock the doors to their cars and they leave valuables inside.
That was the front page
It's
news story.
cheaper than getting all of your glass replaced.
That is the thing.
That's one. And then I noticed there's like several of you, like smash and grab, they'll like break in, smash a door or a window or a garage door and steal things. And then there's so much technology now, it sounds like kind of far-fetched, but how far are we away where we have like electronic sensors in the city where like right now, if there's crime, you rely mostly on a citizen calling the police saying I've been robbed or robbery in progress or something where you have sensors where you can see it as it's happening without having somebody prompt you to take some action?
I'm not sure I know what you're asking.
Like
city-owned cameras all over the city.
The city already has cameras and sensors in lots of places, and so like I don't know. Let's say there's somebody's getting away. You can track the plates and the movement and all that, but maybe we're not so far away where like somebody breaks into somebody's house and you already can detect that before somebody calls or notices something's missing. They do it in a violent way, not just opening a door. Yeah.
There's tools that people rely on, like alarm systems and such that connect directly to us.
Yeah.
That have as in-depth as sensors on every door, cameras in the house and so on. And then if something were to happen, the alarm company calls us and says, hey, we got burglary alarm at this residence and so on. That's what prompts the response. And then we rely on any resources they can provide. I would say in the last few years, the license plate reader cameras are extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Because even if something happens and a victim gets a plate, sees the plate, and then typically we have the ability to enter that into the license plate reader system fairly quickly, which then can immediately, set a notification off to our system that prompts our dispatch and says, oh, hey, this intersection at this time, this car just went through in such place. So there's definitely been advancements in general. I wouldn't say as far as minority report type stuff, but those things in play, and probably those will only grow as time goes on. And there's, AI and facial recognition, and there's systems out there that do really amazing stuff that are obviously just insanely expensive, and will probably be a while before they're more readily accessible to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Grall.
Hi, Commissioner Kleinbaum. Really quick, I can't say too much, but in terms of workers' compensation, there's a certain entity in which I know a person who uses pull cams to monitor certain situations to make sure that they're complying with their, time off appropriately and not jumping up and down on a trampoline. So, that could be done, but, it's a conversation probably for another time, but I like where you're going with that. I thought it was good. I was very happy, Commissioner Escontrias, to work with the volunteers in policing on a couple national night out events where I went out and bought 5,000 flyers each year and walked about 50 miles and promoted a event in my community in North Redondo after getting broken into. And it was very well handled by the police chief all the way down to the community officer and also middle management, and taking care of the situation and making people aware of the community around them. I would say Suzanne and Jeannie and Mike Stark, there's so many good people that we should give any type of award to. They're doing it for free. And I just looked at the Citizens Academy alumni list. It had 257 emails on it for quarterly meetings. It was a pretty good outfit, and I just don't make as much time as I should, but I'm a block captain, and every time there's some sort of disturbance or people are too loud or you've got kind of an odd person in the block and you call and raise a concern, if you do that in downtown LA, good luck on getting through. You do it here, 2 minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to quiet down a party. I almost never get pushback. But yeah, I think all the VIPs deserve recognition where we can. They also have a National Association of Town Watch. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania, but they have a nonprofit for national night outs. And I called the CEO or whatever executive chairman, and he says, all you do is put together a binder of pictures and things you did at your national night out, and you can enter a competition to get your city recognized, like the mid-sized city West Coast Award, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of a fun way to get the community involved, kind of like putting together a float for the Rose Parade. But I never got a response for that. I asked Officer Glenn when she was here. Mike Deere was great to help work on National Night Out event, and Rotary Club came and did all the hot dogs, and we had a couple mayors, I think all three mayors at one point come in, and then a bunch of council people came in before they went to their meeting, and then the previous city manager said, oh, this is too much, I can't be at this event and go to the city meeting for 5 hours, but he still showed up, Mr. Joe Hefkin. So I was very happy with the community support that the very important people of volunteers of Redondo Beach have offered my part of the community and the response times as being a block captain and so forth. But I like the idea of presenting awards to people who deserve them. And I mean, why not? I mean, I'm sure they would appreciate being recognized. But I also think that the police chief and the staff do an excellent job acknowledging, along with mayor and city council, from the one example I saw here, which that was top notch, really gracious. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Wadnicki?
Yes. I want to acknowledge the loss of life at the Galleria. I think anytime you talk about suicide, you should always provide resources. That was a person who was in crisis and thought they had no one out there. And so there is anybody watching and anybody here, crisis hotline 988 for anybody, and also to know that there's always somebody out there who's willing to speak with you in a time of crisis and that you aren't alone. And so I just want to acknowledge that life and that loss of life, because I think it's important to honor that person, because they were dealing with something really difficult and thought that was their only way
Do we
to
know how
handle
old
it.
the victim is? No?
No, that's not known.
Thank you.
May I follow up with a comment on that? That's something that's really duly appreciated, Commissioner Wadnicki, and I just want to mention that for anybody between age young to age 24, that the alcove at Beach City's Health District is a good way to join and get a little bit of distraction and maybe counseling on certain things, or just get involved in activity. And as a member of one of their committees, I really like how they're raising funds to better this program and their services for our youths that need that type of alternative activity, because you do a lot better when you've got it's a lot more fun in a group, and put it that way. And it's so tough, and I've had people or neighbors commit suicide or try to do so, and that's the worst way to go. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone online?
No one online, and no e-comments.
Great. Now J3. Discussion of recent updates on enhanced response to homelessness. So I got a call from CityNet, who came and presented to us, and they are our outreach folks. They are the supplement to Lila. They got a call from Joy Ford saying, we don't have any more money to pay you.
To pay CityNet?
Yes. The strange part about that was the money raised was allocated through the end of their contract. So CityNet's question to me was, where's our money? The timing on that is she called after the first vote to disband. So that happened July 1st. She called them July 2nd. I'm troubled by that. I will also point you all to look at the Budget and Finance Committee's website or commission meeting, where they have created an Excel spreadsheet for, and they use one of your words, accountability, and so they want buckets as to where the money came in and where it went. That agenda item has all of a sudden disappeared from there. So when I try to provide an update, I'm sort of, and I'm no conspiracy theory and all that weird wonderful stuff, but what comes to mind to me was one of the things that was absent from the feedback on that oh so fateful night. Listing the things that we do, they emphasize cats, but at no point do they emphasize that we're keeping track of the program that is our enhanced response to homelessness. They never brought it up. They were able to say, oh, this is going to go to Public Works, oh, this is going to go here, this is going to go there, but they never gave a home for where the enhanced response to homelessness program management was going to be. And so my fear is, as I present this update, is that's the crux of why we're being disbanded. Because we're trying to figure out where the money is. And when they shut us down for trying to figure out where the money is, and they said, no, that belongs to budget and finance, we went, oh, okay, we'll just monitor the program. Well, budget and finance picked it up, and now it gets shut down. Not the commission, but that ask. And they have, hold on.
Yep.
And they have the finance director as their Kyle. So, not conspiracy, but I'm connecting dots, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good because one of the things that we uncovered as a commission is that $14 million was raised. And we asked the question. We didn't go looking to, be budget and finance people, but we just asked the question. Is the program sustainable? Because that's a question we can ask, because we, from a program perspective, are we doing this? Does Lila still have jobs? Have we raised the money? Do we need the extra 25?
Chair, just if only the CityNet contract expired on June 30th, as far as I understand, if that's relevant.
Which sort of is and sort of isn't. They're looking for their money in arrears. And that money should have been budgeted all the way through. So I hear you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I hear you. And great point. Thank you for relatively fact checking me. So I appreciate it. So and even if it did, why not call and say, hey, your contract is ended, we don't have any more money for your contract. So, because she played me the voicemail. One of the things, from a discussion perspective is, where on our city council agenda did it say that we're sunsetting our outreach to homeless? Because Lila is but one person, but we were subcontracting the rest of the work to CityNet, which when you look at this monthly report, it shows they reached out to this many people who were living in cars. They reached out to this many people. They are the ones who set them up with services, et cetera, and we have two dedicated people. I can't think of their names right now. Apologize to you, but now they're going to be out of work with no notice. And so with that, our enhanced response to homelessness goes away. And one of the other things that I would not have known had CityNet not given me a call, they send the monthly report that Joy Ford said that they didn't get, that they never received, that they don't get any monthly. They send it to a certain set of individuals, and so I had them add me to it, which is why CityNet called me, because they're like, we've called all of the Redondo Beach folks on this list, and no one has called us back since we got that ominous voicemail from Joy. So would you mind? And so I've reached out to see if maybe Joy would give me a call back, but that didn't happen. So one of the things that just stands out to me is, one, where is the money? Still a question. Two, are we scuttling our enhanced response to homelessness? And by that I mean, are we no longer building the 25 new? Are we no longer, where's the $1.6 million, at least from HealthNet? All of those sorts of wonderful questions are a part of this recent update, because I just found it curious that they would get that ominous message just after the vote. When she told me the date, I was like, oh, the dots are starting to connect. Because if it expired on June 30th, which is fine, then there's no need to call second, third day of July. You would have called before that. And I'm presuming CityNet would know when their contract expired, so it wouldn't be, one of those, why, what? And if you look at the report, I think it's through April, February, March or April. So that's also why they were concerned, because they're still doing the work from April, May, and then through June 30th. So if they're not going to be paid, where's their money? What happened to it? That's my update. I leave the rest to you all. Commissioner Escontrias.
I believe what is important in this whole issue is not necessarily from a perspective as a commissioner, but more so as a citizen of this community. Where the money goes, how it's being done. I usually get all worked up around April 10th and December 10th when I pay my taxes. I would like to see, at least as we talked about before, accountability. One of the issues that I had with the homeless issue is, again, is accountability. If it's viable, if it's working, then show us.
Yep.
Tell us. I think the biggest thing we have to look at is when we connect the dots, the most important thing we have are dots.
Dots.
And if you don't have dots, I probably maybe a little more aggressively than most is asking questions. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that people have about the idea. But unfortunately, that's because of my background is to ask questions. And the more somebody stonewalls me, the more it decides to kind of like wondering, is there something there? There may be nothing nefarious in this whole deal. I would say not at all, okay? But I would like some answers, and I think we all deserve answers in this community. One of the things in speaking with couple of council people is that if this is the best practices that we're doing, and basically, and I've seen a lot of good work, okay? I don't know if you're aware of it, but I went down to the pallet housing, and I was responsible for putting it. I'm throwing this out there because somehow they think that somehow we're looking to burn this place down, and we're not. Or I'm not anyway. But I went down to the pallet housing, and I then personally built a dog relief area.
Oh, cool. You did.
Okay?
You told me. They told me.
I saw it. It's amazing.
So, dog relief area.
And the flag.
And the flag.
And the flag.
I put an American flag up there.
Every time I drive to Target, I see it and think of you.
And I did this a long time ago. So it's not like suddenly we're looking
All
to.
of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, that we're looking to, and to me, it's a matter of, if it's going to be here, then we need to work with them. And I have no issue with working with people that are willing to be transparent in how they spend my money. And the other side of it, I also very concerned about people who become very gratuitous and very self-righteous with my money. Okay, it's easy to be, talk about volunteerism when you don't volunteer in the community, you're being paid or being paid overtime for it. So I am involved in that as well. Okay, I regularly donate dog food. We opened up for them as well to give them free vaccines and microchips as well, and for 2 years straight. So I think the issue comes up as a member of this community that we are afforded some type of transparency. The word transparency gets tossed around, but it's very opaque. It's only when certain things, when it looks good for anybody. Okay? Yeah, I mean, I would love to show photos of myself when I was 20 years old, but I'm sure as hell not going to show them now. Okay, we all want to look around and look good. I think on this issue right here is that if we need to address it, is that we send a advisory action. Since we're doing that, let's just jump on it and request that a forensic audit be conducted on the program. If they choose not to, fine. But I think sometimes what occurs is this. I think sometimes in my line of work, I remember dealing with people who were doing certain things to very vulnerable victims. Okay. And on one hand, I'm not going to say I understand it, but I see where that kind of comes from. But the one who bothered me more was a person who stood by and did nothing. And basically prodded that person to allow them to be abusive to other people. And those are the ones who really bothered me, especially when I worked child abuse. Somebody can stand by and watch somebody. So I think that unless we throw it out there, and again, I'm not trying to say that anyone is involved in any type of criminal activity or any shape or form, and if there are things that need to be readjusted, fine. But I think an audit, and I've asked before about an audit, again, because of some other issues that occurred beyond the scope of Redondo, but it occurred other places. And I think what's going on right now within this whole country is that we're looking at how are we spending our tax money. So I would venture to say that might be something that we can look at to say, we're asking for an audit. Where it goes, and if it's great, then we know how healthy we really are. And I think that's the biggest thing is every one of us should get a checkup every once in a while, okay? And that's where I'm at with this. So again, I'm speaking as a citizen, most importantly, or a member of the community. I don't want to use the word citizen very loosely, but I don't even go to Home Depot anymore. No. So as a member of this community, I think, because a lot of people have asked, what's going on?
Ditto.
And it's embarrassing when you say, I don't know. Or you know what? Good question. So anyway, I yield.
Commissioner Kleinbaum?
Yeah, I just had a question. So like, people are asking like, where did the money go? And I'm curious too. I'd like to know, I take frequent walks every day throughout the city, and I go also in the evenings after work with my wife, and we walk by all the parks, like Veterans Park is an example that used to be, you couldn't walk there without being accosted by homeless people, and the churches where they feed them, and they're like all gone. And I'm just like, you're like, where did they go? My wife asked that. I kind of bragged to her, look, the city solved the problem with the homeless. There are no homeless here. And she asked, like, where did they go? And I have no clue. I'd like to know that, like, this presentation here for City Net Impact Report is like smoke and mirrors. It doesn't really say anything, but I'm curious. I know. And then the question is, if all the homeless are gone, why do they still need like such a big budget to solve a homeless problem that's already been solved? I don't understand that.
Especially when the police department bills, no shade, just the police, if you look, the police department bills like $600,000, fire department bills like, I believe it was 625, because they say just in general, and this is the justification memo, in general, we are the ones, like, we just have to pull up and we have to address it, and so you can't really quantify it, but it's this many police officers, so it's like, okay, that seems a bit much, I would think. If we can't say that it's down so significant, but we still have to spend $650,000 as a police department to address it, right? $650,000 was when it was up,
Used elsewhere.
but when it's down, and we're still charging the six. So yeah, just different things like that just aren't. And to Commissioner Escontrias' point, it could be that it's still that. It could be that it's still that. There are now also additional services that we provide. There's an annex that there is I can't think of what the name of but there's a person that rides with some of the police officers that is ready to assist with those sort of mental health issues. It could totally be like, this is what it now is, but to shut us down for the question, that makes me think that there's maybe something there that 9 of the things are fantastic, but that 10th one, it's that 10th one. Commissioner Gall.
Thank you. Very healthy discussion here. I was thinking about, and my point of clarification, maybe it was a little bit lighthearted, but
No worries.
the Budget and Finance Commissioner who came to our meeting, and she works for the City of Torrance in finance, and we asked her if she could get financial information regarding certain things with homeless program and those sort of things, and she said she was having a difficult time getting that. To me, as a resident, a citizen, and a proud supporter of Home Depot, that makes me very concerned that somebody who works in finance can't get that. However, I did want to mention one of the commissioners who was interviewing for a renewal was a former CFO from St. Louis, had all that great experience, and he's done a lot of work with pension plan reforms to save the city a lot of money. And I think him and Treasurer Solomon, it sounds pretty good to me. I haven't heard a flip side of the pension reform. I'm very happy with that. But I think if I were a resident, I would get a bunch of other residents and go to the Budget and Finance Commission and all line up there and ask for an audit. And then I would take them all over to the city council meeting and do the same thing. I can't think of any other thing, because when I talked to Mayor Light, I said, what about audits? And said, that's the Budget and Finance Commission. So Mayor Light let the Budget and Finance Commission obtain some of that information within reason from staff. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Wadnicki.
You said if you were a resident, you are a resident.
I'm trying to. I still owe about 50% of my house, but that's
So
enough.
you could go to that meeting. I do agree. I think maybe requesting an audit is out of our purview. That's more the Budget and Finance Commission. But I am curious as to why that information wouldn't be subject to public records request. It's the beautiful thing about government is that it's supposed to be open and transparent, and their documents are our documents. And I don't see anything that would preclude them from sharing that. There's no like personal information And even then, things could be redacted. So,
No HIPAA.
No, I was,
HIPAA.
you beat me to it. Yes.
Oh, that's health related, right?
It sure is. Someone who has their master's in public health.
Yes.
I was quite, to be quite honest, offended by that. An insult to all of our intelligence. But that's aside. I got off track. Where am I going? It should be subject to public request. And so you as a citizen, you as a chair, you're all welcome to request that. My only question is, because this is kind of outside the scope of my knowledge base, I'd like to know the status on the pallet shelter expansion. It's something that we've all heard about, something that we heard they can't find an architect, but like, what's the real reason they have this space? We've been told for quite some time that we need to expand it. Why hasn't that happened? What's the holdup? And I think that is in the Public Safety Commission purview. So that's my only comment.
And a legitimate question, one in which the mayor should not call you into a private meeting in his office and tell you you're filling out too many Public Records Act requests, and they're not going to answer them.
That is your right as a citizen.
I 100% agree.
And a resident of
I was
this
still told,
country, not just the state of California.
Yes, exactly. Which is why it was enormously disappointing when he confirmed it. He just yelled it. Yes, I did.
Well, you still can do it, so
code red.
don't let that stop
It was a very code red moment. Did you order the code red? It was an exciting day. But do we go around one more time, Commissioner Estentrides?
I do have one thing in that. I am well aware, and I want to make sure that I'm very clear on this, and this is just my opinion, is that we are not an oversight committee.
Correct.
Okay? There's no doubt in my civil service mind, we're not an oversight committee in any way, shape, or form. However, my understanding was that when the pallet housing came in and there was concerns about that there was to be some reports that to be reported to the Public Safety Commission written in there.
It's in the
And it was
contract.
agreed to.
It's in the contract.
Okay, it's in there.
It's in there.
So therefore, the understanding of how somehow that we're not, again, I don't think it was a matter of just so that we can say things are good or bad. It was just more or less to see more of an update. And actually, they think the word again as we use accountability and transparency is that this is what they were doing. It didn't actually delineate as to what was supposed to be reported. I think it was more along the lines of criminal activity.
No, it did.
Okay,
It's
so
pulled out. I was
I
gonna say,
stand
but go
corrected
ahead.
then.
Yeah. It
So
did.
if it was more than that, then ideally it is within our purview. So again, the thing is that when people are making saying that somehow we're overstepping it when it comes to the homeless, I don't believe it applies because it's written into the contractual agreement in that. Now, does that go over to Moonstone? Probably not. Okay. Does it go over to the expansion? Probably not.
Yeah.
But the issue still comes back to is this is what the council agreed to. If they want to take it out and they don't want us to be a part of it, rather than abolishing us for asking the questions, why don't you just take that out of the contractual agreement and be done with it? But again, I think that's something that many people are not aware of, okay? And it was not designed, it was more to see, hey, let's see where we're going to making sure that it is viable and it is doing good. And again, I will say this several more times that I do believe that the programs involved concerning Redondo, the city of Redondo Beach and the homeless have been very productive in many, many ways. And so have the people in many, many ways. And in many ways, they actually a textbook best practices for a lot of other cities who can and should look at how things are done.
Agreed.
Okay. But everything and everybody does require some type of accountability. That's all. However it wants to be placed or where it wants to be placed. So I'm okay with the idea of just saying, okay, let's do an audit or just going in myself to the budget finance and just say, hey guys, do an audit as opposed to us getting jammed up even more than what we already are.
Quick comment, Chair.
Yes, sir.
Is that okay?
The chair recognizes Commissioner Gall.
Sorry to interrupt. I would think that would bolster the brand of the program, like an ISO certification for a manufacturing, ISO
CMMI,
13485 or HIPAA approved or however it works. But, you know, those type of certifications being audited and hitting a certain, you know, like class 1 for our fire department, right? Coming to all our meetings and joining the community and sharing technology probably helped with the application for a class 1 Redondo Beach Fire Department. But I think auditing our pallet shelter program and getting those third-party audits within a certain window would just make our program even better. So once in a while. Thank you.
I agree, and I'm glad that you used the word program, because that's what we're saying to audit. Audit the program. Everyone hears audit and they assume financial, and then they go, I have a leg to stand on because finance is outside of your purview. The enhanced response to homelessness does not just say budget.
Right.
Audit does not just mean budget.
A process audit.
And oversight is a broader term, so I'm not espousing to it, but we can't look at it in the traditional, like, we are, like, give me another adjective, and I'm happy to use it. But we look over the document. That's oversight. So, like, I think we use it in the loosest of terms. Doesn't mean that you have to account to us. It doesn't mean that we then are going to make an edict that you now have to follow this. But we do need the data in order to provide substantive advisory to the council, right? We can't just say, I feel. We have to be able to say, based on X, Y, and Z. So, like, I'm with you, and I'm going to use this word, but I take umbrage with the adjectives associated with, or even the negative connotations associated with, because to have Officer Lostrom, just to side note and then come back, to come and say, this is what we did as a community engagement, from a community engagement perspective, that's amazing. We're not like telling him you got to do this better, but he is providing us the data for us to go, oh, okay, I enjoy our community engagement program, right? So we're not overseeing it. It's not oversight, but we do get a report out on it. And there's a comprehensive audit that's provided every month. This is our volunteers in policing. This is our, right? So like, I don't, anyway. So recommendation, motion recommendation?
There was a public comment.
Public comment.
From Joy Ford.
Oh.
Joy Ford emailed CityNet in June to remind them that the contract is expiring on June 30th. CityNet continued to do work in July to transition clients to Lila without anyone's permission. City Attorney's Office now has to ask council to approve a new contract to pay CityNet for the work done in July. Finance Commission is set to discuss homelessness at a later date.
When did that comment come in?
Well,
Like just now?
15 minutes ago-ish.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now she wants to talk to us, right? She hasn't talked to us since December 2024.
I'm not saying anything.
We haven't heard from Joy Ford since December 2024. No, I'm sorry. December 2023. But tonight, she wants to, she hasn't provided the email, but she's going to say it right. And so, yeah. Yeah. Public Records Act request. I'll ask for that email because it's interesting. So, and what agenda is that?
I'm sorry?
I'm just saying, in what agenda did they let the public know? So that's a cute, but I can't. Like, in what agenda on the city council, since she's listening, on what agenda on the city council did you let the public know that you're not renewing, that you sent a note to them in June? So.
And did CityNet formally acknowledge?
Exactly. Who did you send it to?
Yeah, because they would have gotten the 411. Yes.
And they wouldn't have needed to call, and she wouldn't have needed to call them and say, we don't have any more money, and they wouldn't have needed to call me if all of that had occurred. So I'll just file a Public Records Act request since she has publicly let us know that she sent them an email. And let's see if we can get that email, who it was to. And if it wasn't enough time for them to stop the work, and then where was the public announcement that the work is going to stop? So I don't know that she did herself any favors by doing that, but it's great to hear from you, Joy Ford, since we haven't heard from you since December 2023. Let's go around the room one more time. Commissioner Escontrias.
I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner Kleinbaum.
Fine.
Commissioner Gall.
I like what the city attorney is doing in regards to sexual assault in the city and handling it and meting out justice effectively. Thank you.
Commissioner Wadnicki?
No.
All right. I'm going to make a motion that I craft a memo to, an advisory memo to City Council, in part to ask Budget and Finance Commission to formally pick up a program audit to the extent that there's anything that's out of scope for the Public Safety Commission. And we, as a Public Safety Commission, will be requesting a program audit to understand sunrise and sunset.
Conducted how often? Every 2 years, or, for example, just so, this is and it could be kind of considered something that would require a lot of labor, so have you thought about that?
I'm happy for an amendment, because I just wanted a snapshot in time, since per her, it ended on 6:30.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's going forward based on what she just said, so I just want one, since it sounds like it's sunsetted.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we want to ask council to ask Budget and Finance, or should you just go and?
That's fine. I can just go. All right. So I'll amend. That we'll send an advisory
What's the
memo.
likelihood that that's going to happen?
Agreed. I'll amend, so I'll amend my motion to just be an advisory memo to City Council for a program audit of our enhanced response to homelessness.
Do you want to add why?
Since we were just notified that it's sunset, that the program is sunsetted. Yes, Commissioner Bell.
This is an audit on what again? Just
The program.
The pallet shelter?
Enhanced response to homelessness. That includes pallet shelter. That includes fundraising efforts. That includes where the money for HealthNet, because HealthNet gave us $1.5 million. $500,000 was supposed to go to the new pallet shelter, right? So we just need a full program audit. I don't want to focus on money, but like full program, money is a part of it. But how did the program sunrise, sunset?
I see lessons learned now that it's sunsetting. What did
yeah.
we learn
What's
and
the-
what would apply and what were the results?
Yes, and are we going to lose our designation of functional zero?
I think that's a great addition to your motion, what
I agree.
Commissioner Gall said.
Yes.
Thanks, Commissioner Wadnicki.
You're welcome.
All right, there's a motion.
Second, or so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. J4 and J5.
Yes.
J4, discussion on smoke shops. I'm gonna,
Can I ask that they be,
okay, so there's two parts, there's two things. So I want to ask that we move this to our next meeting, because I feel like our participation is low this evening because everyone was assuming that the commission is over, in which case, why participate? I'm happy to be overruled, but I think J4 and J5, like there were so many people who were saying, I want to have my 3 minutes.
Right.
And since they were thinking that the commission is no longer, they were like, oh, why am I not I'm not going to participate when the commission is actually still viable. So I just want to put that out there since it is discussion, but happy to.
I would love to, just because I don't know if I'll be able to attend the next commission, and this was an item that I brought up,
Okay,
something that I would love to just say my piece about it.
let's do it.
And you can continue the discussion for next time, because this is a discussion that should be continuous.
I agree.
mean, it's a real big issue in Redondo Beach.
I agree.
All right.
I'd love to start it off.
Commissioner Wadnicki?
So I just put something together, just because I did attend that July 1st council meeting, and there were some things that were said by the people who are our leaders, and so I'd like to just address some of that. So as we all know, nicotine and THC use during adolescence primes the brain for long-term addiction and disrupts healthy development. What begins as casual use can set the stage for lifelong health consequences. The risks are well documented. I don't need to go through them with you. It's 2025. But vaping tobacco and THC, especially through unregulated or black market cartridges like the ones we're seeing right now in Redondo Beach can cause serious lung injury, GI issues, and in some cases even death. At the July 1st council meeting, during a discussion about permitting cannabis, our mayor remarked, and I quote, "I was at Beach Life Festival, and even though it's no smoking, there's kids with Redondo Union High School shirts smoking pot openly. And there's a bunch vaping. And I would guess that there's a percentage of those that had cannabis in their vaping pens. So kids are getting it today. I think we all know people who use pot," end quote. Let me be clear, that's not a justification, that's a warning sign to all of us. I'm seeing kids in their school clothing openly vaping and smoking in front of public safety officers and elected officials with no consequence. Councilmember Obaji followed up with a broader point, and I quote, "For decades in Redondo Beach, we have not regulated alcohol or tobacco with any semblance of authority. We've just said, follow the state law, and if we have police resources, we'll enforce against you." He went on to describe numerous violations discovered during a recent inspection of 15 tobacco-only retailers and cited a resident who independently confirmed ongoing violations at many of those same shops. If you were there, you would see he brought items that he had purchased, which includes THC and flavored tobacco and vape cartridges, which are not legal. Obaji concluded, and all that costs money. How much money do we have for policing? We need to raise revenue. We need to find better ways to fund public safety responses, and cannabis is just one option, end quote. Here's the reality. We don't just have 15 tobacco retailers. We have 43 tobacco licenses currently on record with the county. Because tobacco is also sold at liquor stores, gas stations, supermarkets, pharmacies, and other retailers. That's about 9 licenses per district. The cannabis proposal essentially is to permit one vice to police another. And that's not sound public policy, that's reactive budgeting. It's ethically inconsistent to acknowledge on the record that youth vaping is a known and visible problem in our community while moving forward with plans to expand access to another regulated substance without first getting our current systems in order. If enforcement of tobacco sales is already underfunded, then introducing cannabis to the landscape will stretch local agencies even further unless revenue is clearly earmarked to cover the cost. And at this point, it's not. Those tax dollars are going to the general fund. There is no stipulation in the proposed regulations that cannabis revenue will be directed to enforcement or youth prevention. And that revenue from cannabis that everyone talks about is not guaranteed. If the mayor and council intends to pursue cannabis licensing, then it must do so responsibly by turning its own observations, as we all saw on July 1st, into action. Commit cannabis revenue by ordinance to fund youth prevention programs and to strengthen enforcement of tobacco and alcohol laws already on the books. We don't get to skip the hard work of fixing the problems we already have in the hope that new revenue might someday help us solve them. Let me repeat that. We do not get to skip the hard work of fixing the problems we already have in the hope that new revenue might someday help us solve them, especially at the cost of our children's futures. And so it concerns me that we want to permit cannabis when we currently have our mayor and our council members saying that we can't even regulate, and we don't regulate tobacco. And I'm not even mentioning alcohol here, but that was mentioned. We do not, and I can't tell you how many retailers sell alcohol. Yeah. And so as someone in District 4, whose district is riddled with smoke shops that sell THC and that sell flavored tobacco and then hearing that Beach Life Festival, you have students doing it in front of our public safety officers, in front of our mayor with no consequence, this isn't the time to introduce another regulated substance when we don't have control over something that's been around for so long. So that's just my 2 cents on the issue.
Thank you. Commissioner Escontrias? Thank you. No, seriously.
I would most definitely agree with Commissioner Wadnicki. Again, one of the things I brought up during the council meeting is that my background in working undercover as a narcotics officer for a number of years in various types of operations in that. And again, in more recently, I'm talking to many of the narcotics officers that I still know, and they're finding is that what it appears anyway, I believe I just saw a study last week, in that the amount of money that's been made in legal cannabis has definitely taken a very much of a big downturn. And it's not as much as people think it is, mostly because of the regulations and because of the federal government's part of that. What bothered me at that council meeting was that suddenly people were seeing dollar signs. And it was like, it was almost to the point of a little bit of a glee of, hey, we're going to make money, okay? And what that bothers me in a sense, because I've seen that look before, and I think it opens the doors to corruption. The thing again is that when the cannabis dealers cannot reasonably get their product from a legal source because of different types of regulations, and as the regulations go more and more, and the taxes go from 3% to 4% to 45%, then suddenly they're out of business. So what do? They go to the illegal side. And that's ideally the promises that were made about testing is no longer there, okay? I was also an officer who ran the tobacco enforcement program for the police department, untaxed tobacco. And we would go out, and it's a big industry. And so what ended up happening was when they couldn't get enough of the non-taxed tobacco, suddenly it's counterfeit tobacco. So the issue comes up is that when they're not going to get sufficient amount of illegal marijuana, suddenly we're going to get, maybe a whole bunch of bushels of oregano or whatever, okay, to a point of suddenly now the quality control is not there. My big issue on this is that we're seeing money. They think this money is never ending. And I think once they're embedded into this, I think it becomes problematic, the enforcement. Now, if they want to add on an additional police tax that goes directly to the police for enforcement, fine. But again, you can't tax your way out of this. It is not what's going to happen. Problem. Again, I do understand there's a medicinal parts to it, but that's the case. They can drive over to Lomita, they can drive over somewhere else, and it's almost like, to a point of where it could be more of an issue here. I think what happens with a lot of people who show up in these meetings, they're all thinking about, the wine and cheese people of sitting around smoking a little bit of dope, getting high and stuff. My things and sitting in there in a drug den with people, okay, is very different as how it goes, and including my family of an uncle who was a heroin addict for a long time. And again, we're talking gateway type stuff. Terrible. So I am opposed to it in general for our community. I know it's here, but I don't think that's something that we can see is going to end all beat all. The same argument was done on prostitution on Figueroa. Well, if we regulate it, these women will be great. It'll be good. And it doesn't work like that. No. Okay. When you've got somebody who is an addict, okay, and they want their drug of choice, whether it's tobacco, alcohol, drugs, or whatever, then suddenly the quality of life of everywhere else goes down. That's it. That's my 2 cents.
Commissioner Kleinbaum.
Yeah, I don't think the public realizes the effect this is having on our community, the cannabis and the impact. My wife's a preschool teacher.
Brown smoke shops.
I'm sorry?
Brown smoke shops, cannabis is next.
I think we said there'd be an overlap.
I guess to me they're the same, but okay, it's related. So, but thank you, no problem. Yeah. So my wife's a preschool teacher in South Redondo Beach, and she takes care of infants. And some of them, the parents come in stoned, and the child comes in stoned too. And she was explaining to me how this is occurring. And that's really sad when you have a 2-year-old that's surrounded in an environment where, I guess the secondhand smoke, however they use it, their children or infants that are 2 years old are already like going to preschool, stoned, arriving at the school. I just wanted to give an example.
So, Commissioner Gall.
I couldn't agree more with Commissioner Escontrias about various types of entities coming into town, and you only look at the positives of the tax revenue that you're going to get, but then meanwhile, all the other businesses are going to fold and move somewhere else because they don't want to be associated with whether it's smoke shops or any of the other types. But I would say there's probably data out there somewhere where you'll notice an uptick in murder or drive-by shootings and things for unresolved financial issues that are in the proximity of a smoke shop or other types of services that, as a resident of Redondo Beach, I would prefer not to have here. Thank you.
We'll close out. Commissioner Wadnicki, any final thoughts?
I mean, if you attended that council meeting, I think there were 55 plus residents who spoke out against permitting cannabis, and yet the council still said this is something residents want. So I think as much as we can sit here and say this isn't what we want, we're not the ones who are in that position to do that. And I think if it's going to happen, then there needs to be an ordinance where those tax dollars go to youth prevention and go to enforcement, because it's not happening. They only did a uniformed inspection of 15 shops when there are 43 licenses. And so I've worked in other communities where we've had grant funded programs to get to use teenagers to do undercover, not even undercover, to just go and buy tobacco and see what happens. Compliance checks. That's a no cost to the city, except for the person who writes a grant application. And in that case, I think we outsource that. But you can also use that money from the tax. And so I'm just saying there's so many options. And you're right, everyone only sees dollar signs, but at what cost to us and to your kids, to your neighbors, to your quality of life? And so I think it's something that we need to be more outspoken about, not just as a commission, but as residents, when you see this on city council meetings and whatnot.
Can I add one more thing to this?
Yes, the chair recognizes Commissioner Escontrias.
One of the things is when I was working in tobacco enforcement and doing the research prior to understanding of how to enforce this law, most people don't realize that an untaxed carton of cigarettes without a tax stamp, which is required by federal, actually state law, okay? If you find a carton, the law basically states that is a minimum of $200 fine for every carton, okay, which actually made an incentive for me to get out there and go even more so, okay? And it said $100 of the $200 fine will go to the state tax franchise board. $100 of that goes to the prosecuting agency. So what we did was we cut a deal with the prosecuting agency and say, give us $50 so that we can buy more equipment and stuff. So with the incentive is there when it's built into the ordinance of that when something does occur, that there are serious consequences for it, not just, oh, we're really sorry, my bad, okay? So when we went out there and we were confiscating 75 cases of, I've worked several cases like that, 75 cases of untaxed cigarettes, okay? The money, some guy, and it's a misdemeanor, some guy is ended up paying $300,000 in fines. So that's a little bit of an incentive to stop doing it.
It should be that way. They should be fined. They should have their permits revoked when they're in violation.
And done.
Of these 15 retailers, one didn't even have a business license. They're still operating. So what does that say about our enforcement? What does that say about us as a community when it comes to something like tobacco that comes to flavored vaping? I mean, get a kid on a flavored vape and see what happens. And not even to mention, I haven't even started about the Heal the Bay study that came out about what it's doing to our oceans, all those cartridges. So wait a couple years and you can see our beautiful beach. You want us to be the gem of the South Bay? Wait till you see what those vape cartridges are gonna do to our ocean, what it's gonna do to our sea life. It starts in one place and it's gonna end up somewhere else.
What was the fine for the unlicensed business that the uniform? Any idea?
I asked if there were any repercussions to Officer Lofstrom, and I think I was just told that they get a notice.
Oh.
Were they fined?
It depends. Like a business license, not operating without a business license would be like a citation.
And operating a tobacco retailer.
They're actually not open. We did an inspection
were
on them this
closed.
week. Yeah, they've been closed since we found them without a license.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
about
And then we
the-
did, just so you guys, we did 7 surprise inspections with code enforcement this week, and one did sell flavored tobacco. We had him remove it off the shelves, and he was given a notice to correct. So at some point, we'll go back there, and if he's in violation again, then he'll get a fine.
So they don't get a fine the first time?
No.
And what if they're a repeat offender? What happens? Do they get to keep their permit? Do they get to keep selling?
If the repeat offenders, a report would be generated, and we forward that to the city attorney's office, and they get to decide what the proper course of avenue would be from there.
So, I mean, that's like a deeper issue. When I worked in another community, we took tobacco seriously. If a retailer was found to be in violation of the regulations, they'd be brought in for a hearing and have their permit and license revoked for X amount of days with a very severe fine. Because it's not like you're selling cookies, you're selling something very highly addictive that has lifelong repercussions to somebody. So I think a notice and not a fine, that's really troubling. What does that send to the retailer?
I do appreciate that you have let us know that enforcement is occurring.
It is occurring, and we do it on,
How, how we want it to be. But I also feel like sometimes when that occurs, it's not on the books. So you're kind of winging it, and then you're kind of finding like, okay, these are the things that we can do. So we are going to do the things that we can do. And then someone has to give us something with a much stronger bite, and we'll do that too, since we know what the cadence is, that kind of deal. That was kind of my takeaway from what you updated us on.
yeah, now that it's been on our radar, and it's been a topic of discussion at city council, we've been doing regular inspections. And I think the person that we gave a notice to today, or earlier this, I guess it was late last week, it was his first violation. He was cooperative and moved it off, and he knows again, if this happens again, that he's going to be cited, so.
Got it. Okay. Great discussion and great update. Real time.
Do you do annual inspections or you just do them as people complain?
Going forward, it's going to be a continual inspections, just periodically throughout the year, just because we know it's an issue that's been brought up.
15 retailers or of all tobacco licenses within the community?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about like supermarkets and stuff?
Correct.
Yeah, I think we're just going to focus on the smoke shops, the shops that are only selling tobacco, that are prohibited to have people, I believe, under 18 inside. So we're going to be focused on them, make sure that kind of stuff doesn't get sold to juveniles, and the stuff you're talking about with grant money, possibly doing stings, we've been looking into as well. So there is going to be some enforcement action, and it's going to be ongoing.
Do you find that it would be helpful if their cannabis ordinance tax dollars were funded towards public safety in terms of enforcement and, youth prevention? I mean, community programs, wouldn't that be? Just wondering if that would be helpful, because they said here that
Level of enforcement seems.
we need to find better ways to fund public safety response. That was their reason that council gave for not enforcing it before.
Yeah, I don't get wrapped up in the money or who should get fined and what. Those are written into our codes and usually by the court systems. And I'll leave it at that.
But if it were, you had additional funding.
Oh, don't do that to them. Don't do that.
I would
Thank
love
you.
additional funding. Yes.
Thank you. Fantastic.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right. J5, any additional, I'm sorry, for J4, any online, any?
No, and No and no.
All right. J5.
As a liaison, just by the end of J5, maybe, this is just a recommendation, a motion to just maybe make this one topic to
Yes.
continue to.
We're going to
probably
do
a good
that.
idea.
We're going to do that in K. So J5. Any new thoughts? I'll just do a quick. Commissioner Escontrias?
No.
Commissioner Kleinbaum? It's cannabis. We basically just discussed it already.
Thank
Right.
you.
Commissioner Gall?
I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner Wadnick?
No.
All right. Anyone online? Any? Okay. Item K. I'm going to go with Commissioner Wadnicki.
Yeah, I have two.
Okay.
One is to continue the discussion on smoke shops and cannabis for the next meeting.
Do a motion to combine.
I'd like to make a motion to combine the discussion on smoke shops and cannabis and then continue it to the August meeting.
There's a motion. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
And then my next motion is for asking the crime analyst for the exact same data from I-4, but for the year 2018 to 2019, which would be pre-COVID, pre the boom of e-bikes, pre all of the educational campaigns at the high school, just to see the difference in the numbers.
Motion.
2018 to 2019.
Correct. The same time frame. I think it was May to May.
Do we need to do a motion or you got that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Commissioner Escontrias.
I'm good, thank you.
I will get clarification on the 602 as well. I didn't see that. It didn't register when I read it and put it in the
It's fine.
agenda. That was potentially an overlap of two codes that happen to be numbered the exact same thing and are both relevant.
Or Commissioner Kleinbaum.
Fine.
Commissioner, I thought I'd call your name, sir. Commissioner Gall.
Chair Carmichael, I'm fine on this topic, thank you.
All right. Anything from our liaison? I think we're unclear. We need to circle back on. All right. Tonight we adjourn. Was it July? The month recognizing our nation's independence. Yes, we adjourned this regular meeting of the Public Safety Commission dated Monday, July 21st, 9:28 p.m. That was great.
Oh, he did.